All right, welcome everybody to the week one intermediate math problem of the week. You're here with Mr. Evans right now, and we're going to solve this math problem. And one of the first things Mr. Evans likes to do in using his 6-step framework is I like to read my problem first. And the problem reads today as Cindy has $15 and Kyle has $45. How much money must Kyle give Cindy so that Cindy has 12 more than Kyle? Well, so that I truly understand what I'm doing, Mr. Evans always rewrites the question as a statement. Okay. So we're going to say Kyle must give Cindy blank dollars. So, because we're trying to figure out how much he has to give so that Cindy has $12 more than Kyle. All right, so that's what we're solving and looking for. So one of the next things Mr. Evans likes to do is just kind of draw some pictures that kind of put in perspective what we're trying to solve here. Okay, so if I'm talking about what our current status is right now, we have Cindy, who I'm going to represent here with a C, and we have Kyle, who I'm going to represent here with a K. I'm going to draw some tape or bars on this tape line to represent how much Cindy currently has. And what does Cindy currently have? Yes, that's right. She has 15. Now, how much does Kyle have? Yes, that is correct. 45. So the goal is to get these to look relatively close to the real deal. Okay. So we know Kyle has $45 and Cindy has $15. Okay. So now as we're trying to figure this out, we want to know what we're working with, because literally what we're looking for is there should be ultimately, when we're all said and done, Cindy having 12 more than Kyle. So this is our objective at the moment. We want to create a situation where our tape graph, our tape and bar graph, is going to look like this, where the difference between these two spaces right here would be 12. Currently, at the moment, we are unaware of what the value of this bar is and what the value of this bar. But we're going to figure it out. Mr. Evans is going to show you a really unique strategy to figure it out. Okay. So let's start with what we know. Okay. So Mr. Evans is going to slide up just a little bit. And what we do currently know is that Cindy has $15. And we know Kyle has $45. All right, everybody still with me? All right, and to help solve this, Mr. Evans is going to apply a method in what I call shifting 10, because we know Kyle is going to have to give Cindy money. We just don't know how much he's going to have to give her, okay? So in order to figure this out, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to shift 10. You may ask, Mr. Evans, why are we shifting 10? Well, because in our number system, 10 is too many. And since 10 is too many, 10 is always a really good number to work with when you're shifting numbers and moving numbers around to try to see if you can't figure out the difference between them. So right now, the difference between 15 and 45, if you were to do some subtraction of 45 minus 15, mentally you would come up with 30. So we're not quite to 12, and we're going to shift some 10s until we get there. So let's take a look at shifting $10 currently from Kyle over to Cindy. So I'm going to note right here that we're shifting $10. All right. And when I make that shift, Cindy is now going to have how much money? 10 to 15, 25. And that's going to take $10 away from Kyle. So Kyle is now going to have what? That's right, 35. And now I'm looking at this and it's like, wow, you know what? If I were to try to figure out the difference between 35 and 25 doing some subtraction, I know there's a difference right now currently of 10. But we are looking for a situation where Cindy has 12 more. In this case, Kyle still has more money. So Kyle is still going to have to give a little bit more. So let's shift another 10 and see what happens. There we go. Drawing it out so everybody can see we're shifting another 10. And when we shift 10 away from Kyle and give it to Cindy, Cindy now has $35. And Kyle is left with how much? Yes, that's right, $25. Look at that. These are like identical. Look at that. They're just like the reverse. But now we're in a situation where Kyle definitely does have less money and Cindy has more. And the difference between those is still what? That's right. You're using your brain. 10. So now we're getting close, aren't we? Super close. When Mr. Evans starts to get super close like this, I no longer want to shift 10s. I want to start shifting single digits because, you never can be too safe. And so I'm going to shift $1 at a time and see if I can't work my way towards Cindy having 12 more. All right. So let's go ahead and start off by shifting $1 first. Okay. There we are. We shift $1. And as I shift that $1, I now know that Cindy is now going to have how much money? Yes, that's right. You're adding one more to 35. So Cindy now has $36. And that's taking $1 away from Kyle. So Kyle now has how much money? Yes, 25 becomes 24. And as I do that, I want to monitor very closely what the difference is between the numbers before I start, trying to shift anymore. And I'm currently looking at 36 and I'm looking at 24 and wait a minute. Mentally, I've just concluded something, but I wonder if you guys can detect it too. So if you were to do 36 minus 24 right now, what would you get? Teachers, feel free to pause the video at this time to give them some time to do that. But now Mr. Evans is going to go ahead and reveal that $36, when you take away 24 away from it, is going to come down and have a difference of, yes, that's right. You guessed it, 12. Isn't that the magic number we're looking for? How about a big yay there? We're doing good. All right. And so now that we have concluded that this is indeed the difference we are looking for, we now have to figure out how much money did Kyle end up giving Cindy for this unique situation to happen. And because I kept track of my numbers that I was shifting, I can now just simply count by tens and then add 1 to find out how much money Kyle gave Cindy. So I'm going 10 plus 10, which is 20, plus one more, which is 21. So if I add all those up together, it was 21 total dollars that Kyle used to give Cindy the advantage of having 12 more dollars. So up here on my graph, I can go back up there and I can fill it in to say that, now Cindy has $36 and that now that Kyle has $24. And I take my $21 and I plug it into that sentence we were talking about at first, because now I have provided the initial answer I was looking for. This is the real trick and kicker here, because most kids generally stop right here where Mr. Evans found that they were the difference here. And now we know Cindy has this, Kyle has that, and they think they're done. But no, you weren't done. You still needed to add those up to find out how much money Kyle gave Cindy. And since we found that out, we were able to answer it by simply saying now, Kyle must give Cindy $21 so that Cindy has 12 more dollars than Kyle. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You have been great. This was week 1's intermediate math problem solving. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to meeting with you next time and solving next week's problem. Until then, have a great time and study up.